you going to have an 8th line combination this week? Or
Wouldn't that be fun? Is that what it is? 8?
It was
Well,
7
7
last week.
Oh, yeah. One time's kickoff?
One.
Probably know about 102-ish, depending on the point flip, right? What's up?
The Caps are still
The head coach? Oh yeah, I should listen to him. That's a good coaching point.
was it nice to have a pretty healthy line last week and then for them to block the way they did and all of that?
Yeah, it's always great when you have a healthy line or healthy any position, and when you win, everything's better, obviously. So to see the success, to see the 2-minute drive at the end, and just the totality of the game, I think it just shows the continued growth of this offense. And it's an ultimate team game, however you want to slice it. So wide receivers, running backs, tight ends, and protection doing a great job. So anytime you win, because it's hard to win this league regardless, right? So it was good to have a win.
Have you ever gone through this much? I mean, have to, especially early in the season, have that much continuity churn?
There was some previously that you have to roll guys all the time. It happens. It's part of the game. Injuries are unfortunate part of the game, and the next man up cliche is true. Like, you prepare those guys, you try to get them as much reps you can through scout team and through different things, but whatever is presented, you have to go it. Sometimes you got a map, and sometimes you just got to deal with the terrain that you're given, and you just got to approach it and get the communication. And that's a good thing about trying to develop the younger players and get them on board and have them ask questions. And so through that process, guys have to flip around left to right, different jumbo muscle guys. So it's just part of the game. Everybody's got to deal with it, and so you just do the best you can and hope you're preparing the guys throughout the course of the off season and training camp and during the season as well.
Andy, Joe was talking yesterday, and he said he expects that maybe the team will rely more on kind of the under center plays, and as opposed to maybe some of the spread stuff that you guys were doing before. For an offensive line, materially, what kind of changes in terms of responsibilities and points of emphasis when you're maybe doing more under center plays as opposed to shotgun?
Yeah, so every week, as a staff and as a team, you put together the best plan for that week. Every opponent's different. So if it's more under center one week and if it's more gun the other, we kind of find the best ways where we think the best plan is. So, sometimes you're in different stances, but the runs are still the runs to me. So maybe there's some landmarks that are a little different in the run game. If you're offset gun versus under center for, inside zone, under center, well, it's a play side leg of the inside leg of the tackle, where if you're under center, then it's the play side leg of the center. So there's some nuances, but every week there's usually a mix of all those things, and during the course of the game you see what's working, what may not be working, and then you adjust as you go. So I mean, there's different things you can do, but as long as there's sameness and likeness that builds in, I think it's not that big of a deal, but there are nuances, of course.
Andy, how do you think Wyatt did in his first game back?
I think Wyatt did well, but there's plenty of things to work on when you're knocking off the rust. Some pad level stuff we talked about. Just working with the hands. But as you play, and if you haven't played for a while, the only way to do it is to continue to get back in that rhythm and flow, and you do the best you can through practice. But he brings a physicality, different mentality, and helps the O-line. And so it was good to have him back, because you always like to see guys come back and work through those injuries and what he was doing, to get himself ready to come back and be, to contribute, which he wanted to desperately. So it was great to have him back out there.
What about Dewan? The first start at left tackle, and first of all, how did he do, and then just how big of an adjustment is that going from, spending a couple years at right to left?
Yeah, I thought he did a pretty good job for his first start. There's always going to be things to get better at, and it was good to see him work through the process during the course of the week and then get out there. And he had his share of mistakes like everybody does, but the key coaching points and different things that you go through, and just the reminders of trying to stay square, using his hands, just good reminders. But you'd do the same thing if he was on the right. But for him, as you continue to go to be able to play both sides, it's muscle memory. You're bouncing around, so something you may have done in high school, but you haven't done it for a while. So there is something to get used to doing, but that's why you try to, as much as possible, get those guys, just even in drills, if you're flipping your hips and moving around, just to get that feel. So it's something that, everybody has to work through. You have Zach Zinner bouncing around at different sides. Guards probably happens a little more often than tackles, but, backup tackles, and you get to dress 8, so that eighth guy, whoever that is, whoever that tackle backup has to be able to play both sides. So you're continually working with those guys to work their skills and really work on maybe their weaknesses more than their strengths at times.
What did you see from him during those 2 weeks when he wasn't in the starting lineup? He talked about trying to stay ready and all those kinds of things, but How do you think he handled it?
I think he did a great job of it. He, asking questions, being attentive in meetings, and he's always asking, hey, run that back. What was that? What coverage is that? Like, so he asked really good questions during the meeting. And just like with anything, sometimes you get to take a step back and you still prepare. And we talk about the whole time. Hey, just like how many ever lineups we've had, like you have to tell those guys, hey, stay ready. We have, that time we had, Zach. Zach wasn't playing, Dunn was, and then 3 plays in, Nick Harris goes down. Hey, Dunn. Slide on over to center, and I thought he did a good job in that game. Hey, Zach, you're not playing. Hey, Zach, you got to go in 3 plays later. So that just is part of the whole deal of just football in general, but those guys being able to prepare, and we talk about it. We talked about after the game, hey, you didn't think you were going to play. Hopefully you don't play because nobody gets injured, and then you have to be ready. So it just shows the professionalism of the guys and to be ready to be called upon because they're still going to be on field goal. They're still in the game, but you just never know when you're going to be needed. And those guys take a lot of pride in being ready when their number is called, if it has to be called.
How much did it help to have Jameis getting rid of the ball quickly, sliding the protections, just that veteran experience that he brings to the table back then?
Yeah, Jameis brings a great energy. He's authentically himself, which you love, and you love to be around him. Just his whole presence. But with all football, it's all 11. So what are the wide receivers doing? What are the tight ends helping in protection? The running back. So it's all 11, regardless of the game, who's in there, and that's why everybody has to do their job in every single play because you're relying on the man next to you to get that job done. So you have to trust them, and they have to trust you to get their job done. So I thought it's been. You never want to have, an injury happen. So, it's very unfortunate what happened to Deshaun. But, another next man up mentality. You step in, he prepared like he was the starter always. Like that's, what cliche, but that's what those guys have to do to be successful in the NFL. You have to be ready when your number is called. And I thought he did a great job through the week of preparation, the communication. So, like I said, you hate to have the injuries, but, he came in, was prepared, and we got the dub.
Andy, with guys like DeJuan and Zach earlier this season having to step in, just how valuable do you think having the leadership of guys like Joel and Wyatt was for them in those roles?
It's awesome. Like ever since the rookies got here and those guys have been indoctrinated, been around them. Like during meetings, you'll be up there coaching. Like, hey Joel, anything to add on that when talking about Zach? Or hey Jack Conklin, Jack worked his way back from the injuries, but the whole time in meetings, he's like, hey DeJuan, another reminder. So those guys have always done a great job. Wyatt as well. So Ethan, one of the better ones I've been around. Just how knowledgeable he is, how smart he is, how detailed he is, and it's a great example to show how those guys work and prepare throughout the week. But those guys do a great job, like the O-line in general, of welcoming in everybody, knowing you're going to need everybody at some point. Jermaine Ifedi, having a veteran like him to be around and just the different presence that he brings and the experiences that he's had. So these guys all do a great job of helping one another. And I've said it before, like I can learn from them. Hey, Joel, what do you think on this? Hey, Jack, how do you want to handle it? Hey, Poe, have you guys done this before? I see it like this. Hey, let's talk about this. So just having those football conversations with those guys allows everybody to learn and get a little bit better.
And Fetty slide inside?
We've worked him at guard. He's started a couple games at guard. I forget the exact number, but he's played all across the board, I think, except center.
Is Jack, do you feel like he's back to where he always has been, given he's now been in the lineup, 3 or 4 weeks?
He's definitely been improving every week. It's to see him how, I've never worked with him and just watching on tape, but each week you see the improvements and you can see, I think, just again, getting back into the flow that it takes a while after injuries to get, your sea legs back under you, if you will.
How about Nick? It looked like Nick running behind your guys last week just seemed a lot more comfortable, a lot stronger. Did you notice that in him?
I mean, ever since I've met the guy, I've heard about him before I got here, obviously, and actually some people that I've worked with before they're big fans of Nick Chubb. So just seeing him work every day, continue to get back from those injuries, and then there's post-practice stuff that those guys do in their process to get back, and so part of that, I think we had Zinter snapping and just seeing him work through, and I think it was maybe on whatever it was, but just him working back through and just seeing that. So I think with any injury, I think every day you get a little better. Not being my expertise, but it's always fun to get the running backs to get going a little bit.
Pretty good.
We're good.
Thank you.
How we doing? All right.
Coach, I think it's been 4 games that Miles hasn't had a sack, which obviously is unlike him. And I'm sure I know he's still having an impact. But what do you see? How do you kind of process that he's gone that long without something he always does?
Yeah, I mean, I think every NFL team goes in with a Miles plan, right? I mean, he's, former Defensive Player of the Year. He's an explosive athlete. You got to account for him every play. So I think when you got a team that's going in there thinking like, hey, we got to stop this guy, and everybody else has to make plays, I think that's what you're seeing right now. You know, he gets the slide to him, he gets the chip to him. They're just doing different things right now. And, you know, as you can see, you know, how we counted that last week was we're just putting him in different spots and just having him play against different people. So, you know, he's still an impact on the game every play that he's out there. And, you know, those sacks come in bunches usually. And I know that he's due for one right now, and he knows it himself, and he's been working his butt off. And I think, you know, this you know, hopefully this week will be the week that he breaks that.
Do you sense him getting frustrated by that?
No, I mean, you know, obviously when you're getting 6 hands put on you every play, you know, that gets a little, you know, it wears on you a little bit. But, you know, the guy, he's an utmost professional. He comes out every day and just works his butt off. You know, we'll watch film on our own sometimes, and, you know, he's always preparing, and just he understands that, you know, there's going to be guys coming at me. You know, they're going to be attacking me a certain way, and other people have to step up. And I think you're seeing that now with like guys like Zadarius. You know, he leads us in sacks right now. You know, Mike was out there making some plays for us the other day. So other guys have to step up when teams are focusing solely on stopping Miles.
Jacques, how do you guys evaluate that final drive with the stop? Because it seemed like your guys up front maybe had some chances against Lamar
Yeah.
and do some unique things, but you still got the stop. So how do you
Right.
evaluate those last 3 plays?
No, I mean he's a dynamic athlete, right? I mean he's once you know, generational talent, and we just had to do what we needed to do, which was assault the pocket and rush our butts off at the end of the game. And, you know, guys were tired and they were doing what they can, and, you know, we got him flushed a couple times. He was throwing the ball away, and I feel like our guys did our job. We didn't get him on the ground, but I feel like we did our job, get him off the spot and get him to throw when he didn't want to throw.
What stood out to you about Mike Hall in his first couple games?
Oh, I love it. I mean, he's every week he's getting better and better and better. And I think he's done just a tremendous job just coming in and blending with the vets, but also just having his own role in the whole process, right? I mean, you saw we had him on 3rd down, we had him on 1st down, you know, he was playing different spots, and he just does a good job of attacking the game plan every week.
Jacques, you touched on it a little bit, but what has stood out about Zadarius so far this season?
Well, first, his leadership. You know, I don't think a lot of people understand what type of leader he is in the room for us, and then just the energy that he brings, and it's just another guy that's just a professional. He attacks every single day, you know, with intention and with the game plan in mind. And so when you got a guy like that that's out there, that he can set the edge, he can rush, you know, he still has tons of juice in his legs. It makes you feel a lot better knowing that, again, there's going to be 6 hands put on Myles Garrett every play. So Z's done a great job for us, and I'm happy for his success right now that he's having. You know, I just hope that we can continue to have him do that for us.
How much of an opportunity do you feel like you have this week on the interior of the defensive line? Obviously, they have 2 terrific tackles, but you kind of look and say, this is an opportunity potentially for guys like Dalvin and Shelby and Mike to, you know, potentially have big games?
Well, you know, I'm always hoping that those guys have big games, right? And I don't look at it as, well, this week we're going to attack the interior or we're going to attack the exterior. I mean, that's an NFL offensive line, and those guys have been playing really well up front for them. You know, they run the heck out of the ball, and they protect. And so all my guys, not just the guys that are inside, you know, they got to attack this game. And they have to be intentional with their rush. They got to be really good with their hands and knock people back, and they have to be, you know, penetrators and disruptors, the things that we do every single day. So I'm excited for how, you know, Shelby and Dalvin's been playing. You know, those guys have been a rock for us week in and week out. And having guys like Mike and Mo come in, that's been really good for us as well. So I think we're attacking this just like we attack every week, not just that we're going to attack the interior. We're going to attack the whole entire offensive line. And we got to bring it. We got to bring it. We got to be the engine. We got to start the thing off for our defense to go.
Q had 6 sacks last year. He's having a hard time getting on the field this year. Do you see a role for him going forward down the stretch?
Yeah, I mean, Q's done a heck of a job for us, and right now, it's always a numbers game, and right now we got Mike and Mo back, and Shelby and Dalvin are playing well, but Q continues to be a great professional, and he's working hard every day, and especially in the classroom with the younger guys. He's always giving good tips to the younger guys, especially Mike. He's done a great job of just mentoring Mike, so we're happy to have Q, and I know eventually we're going to get him back on the field so he can do what he does best.
With Zedarius, his name has been mentioned a bunch in trade rumors. Have you talked with them about that? Have you seen that affect him at all?
No, I mean, I don't. If it doesn't have to do with us internally, then I don't care about what the noise or the rumors or whatever like that is going on. I try and keep my guys focused on the task at hand. Right now, we're just focused on the Chargers. We're focused on stopping that Chargers run and hopefully getting to the quarterback, and that's it. I don't think it's affected anything that he's doing. He approaches the day every day the same way. He's a great pro, and we always quiet outside noise. We're about what we do inside.
It has to help that, he's, 10 years almost, in this league. He's been through this before. How much does that has to help him when his name does come up?
Well, like I said, we don't ever really talk about rumors or things. When things happen, then things happen. If people are just talking, then that's just people wanting to talk and create controversy and all that other stuff. So we just try and stay focused on what we have to do. That's all. Zedarius is focused on the Chargers right now, and that's it.
How good are those Chargers tackles?
Yeah, they're good. The rookie, he's a good player. He's massive. And he has good feet. And Slater is another one that has done a good job, every year. So it's going to be a great challenge for us, and we're excited about it. The guys have answered the bell before, and I'm sure they're going to do the same thing this week.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, guys.
Yep.